Let me tell you something that most people will never understand. The view from the crowd is nothing like the view from the stage. Now, I got to learn that standing 15 feet away from Eric Church as he took the mic. Not in the seats, not in the pit, but standing side stage. I got to witness all the rituals. I got to watch the band walk through their subtle nods. I got to see 20,000 people just moving like one body. The energy was simply insane. And in that moment, something clicked. Experience changes everything. The way you buy, the way you trust, the way you remember. Today's episode is all about that. It's about the power of being close. It's about the power of an elevated experience. It's about the power of feeling special. Now, whether it's backstage at a concert, field level at an NFL game, sitting courtside at an NBA game, or watching a skilled surgeon repair someone's eyes, this is about creating moments so powerful that people can't help but to believe in you, believe in your brand, and be motivated to participate. Welcome back to Eyes Wide. It is good to be back on the mic. This is going to be a solo go. I promise to keep it short. I got my boy Rip here, getting ripped, got a cup of coffee, and I promise that by the time this coffee is gone, we were going to stop talking. So with that, let's get right to it. So I mentioned the fact that I had an opportunity to go to a pretty awesome concert the other night. And again, this isn't something that I get to do all that often. The truth of the matter is I was very, very lucky. My nephew happens to be on the crew for Eric Church, and he invited my wife and I to come check it out, and there was no way we were saying no to that. And even though it was completely pissing rain in Southern California, and for any of you that know, when it rains in California, it is not a good experience. It is full-on news coverage, storm of the century, the roads suck, and everyone is miserable. But to hell or high water, we're gonna go check out that concert, because this was gonna be an experience of a lifetime. And I had never been backstage before for a concert like this, and I was stoked. I mean, from just having the all access badge on to be able to walk to the back of the stage, to be able to see everything going on under the stage, all the guitars set up. My man changes his guitar after every song. He's got different guitars tuned for different aspects of the song. And so there's a guy that brings him a new guitar after every song. Got to meet him, got to get a feel for what his experience is like and what the show prep is like for him. And got to talk to a lot of the crew members, and just seeing all of the energy of everyone as they're getting ready to really put out a quality product. It was awesome to see. And as I mentioned in the opening, it's a different experience. If any of you have gone to concerts lately, I would imagine that you've been hit by the elevated concession costs. When I was walking in, as soon as I got in, I'm going to a country concert, so the first thing I wanted to do is I wanted to get myself a whiskey on ice. And so they were serving Maker's Mark. I'm like, perfect. This is perfect for an Eric Church concert. And I got a double Maker's Mark on ice, and they rang it up on the register, and it was $46. $46 for a Maker's double. It was crazy. I paid it, but I couldn't stop thinking about it. Because I can't believe I just paid $46 for 2 shots of an okay whiskey. And I couldn't stop thinking about it. But, the opening act was getting started, and so my wife and I went up to the seats that were on our tickets and kind of just hung out there. And then after they finished, my nephew got in touch with us, and he called us down to the floor, and then we got to go, check everything out that I was just describing. And so what's funny, and the reason I bring this up is not to talk about how awesome that experience was, because it was an awesome experience. And, but it's about that $46 Maker's Mark. Now, prior to the concert starting, it's all I could think about. I was pissed at myself that I didn't say, no, thank you. But I felt obligated to pay at that point, but I still couldn't believe I spent more on a cup of a drink than would cost for the entire bottle. And then as the experience continued to elevate, as I got to walk around the back of the Intuit Dome. For those of you that don't know, that's where the Clippers play basketball. So being in the locker room of the Clippers was a super cool experience, one that is priceless, frankly. And so all of a sudden, that $46 cost of a double Maker's Mark starts to truly dissipate and doesn't mean anything, because would you pay $46 for the opportunity to walk into the Clippers locker room? Uh-huh. Would you pay $46 to watch, to meet the guy that hands Eric Church's guitars? Would you pay $46 to watch through the Skycam to see what that looks like? Would you pay $46 to hear the thumping of the kick drum in your chest and watch the lights go up on 25,000 people all staring not at you, but in your direction to watch this artist perform? And hell yeah. And so you start thinking like, I wanted to go get another one. I didn't need to, but I'd have paid $46 again, because who cares at that point? Who cares? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. Easiest $46 at that point I would have ever spent, because I was having an elevated experience. I was right in the action. I was right there. I was on top of the world. I would have paid $146 for that Maker's Mark probably, and I wouldn't have given a crap, because I was buying the experience, not the drink. At the start, walking through like everyone else, when I bought that $46 drink, it's all I could think about. By the end of that show, it was the best $46 I ever spent. And that is something that I want to continue to talk about and convey in this episode, because these experiences that you have, what's happening is you're creating emotional memory. You're creating an emotional memory. And that is the awesome thing about what it is you're purchasing. So if you are the person selling something, you want to make sure that what you're selling isn't just about that thing, isn't just about that product, isn't just about that service. It's about what that thing, product, or service represents or will represent for that individual. What doors will it open up? How will it ultimately make them feel? And so that they too can look you back in the eye when they contact you or leave you a note or leave you a review, 10, 15, 20 days after the purchase, and they say, this was the best $100, $200, $500 that I've ever spent. That's what you want them. And the more you're able to create an overall experience around what it is you're offering, the easier it is going to be for someone to spend for that thing, and the happier they're going to be for making that decision to purchase. But if you want people to remember you, if you want people to remember your product, if you want people to remember what you're offering, you have to give them something that they can feel. That has to be what's lasting with them. You want to get into the true Mac Daddies of perfecting what it is we're talking about? The masterclass of masterclasses on how to create an overall environment where everyone just wants to spend their asses off. Las Vegas. Vegas, baby. They are perfect. And I'll tell you why. You already know why, but I'm going to tell you anyway, because Vegas is the most intentional approach of making it so that you don't care at all about giving, about investing in whatever it is you want when you are there. You won't be thinking about money at all. From the time you get off of the plane, there is an energy about Vegas that is all designed to make you happy. It's designed to make you feel like you are a part of something special, that you are doing something exclusive. That is what Vegas is, and they are so good at it. I mean, if you walk in, you stay, any hotel can offer this. You walk in any hotel and it is going to be an energy. There's going to be sounds. There's going to be sights. It's going to be the best looking people you've ever seen, dressed to the nines. There's going to be action here and action there. Things happening really quickly. The sounds, the sights, the smells. I mean, any of you stay in the city center anytime lately, or since the city center was created, talking about Aria, Cosmopolitan, you go in the Crystals Mall there. You walk in any of those casinos and it just smells like awesomeness. It, the way it smells, it makes you happy to give those places all of your cash. I, I have some nice leather goods. I have a belt from Louis Vuitton, a belt from Gucci. I don't go too nuts. Okay. I do like my leather goods. I do like my belts. I bought both of them in Las Vegas at Crystals. You know why? Because when you're there and you walk in and you feel the energy and it smells as good as it smells and it just looks fantastic, you're like, oh, it's not that big of a deal. I'll go ahead and get it. You're making decisions differently when the overall experience is set up for you to want to be able to make those decisions. It's designed to have a buying decision by a customer, and they are so good at it. Okay. If you ever want to truly be able to gauge how good Las Vegas is as making you want to spend your money and spend your energy, go ahead and remember or think about how you feel or notice how others look and feel when they are in the Las Vegas airport at their gates, getting ready to depart, getting ready to leave. There is a difference. There is an exhaustion on the faces of people, whether it's an exhaustion of their wallets, an exhaustion of their energy levels, or an exhaustion of their morality. Whatever it is likely gone in those moments. And what used to be very exciting and enticing, the ting ting tinkety ting ting tink of the slot machines when you first get off the plane and get to the hotel, get to the casino. You love those sounds, man. Those sounds get you fired up. You're ready for action. You're ready to rock and roll. And then in the airport, you hear those sounds and you're like, shut the F up. I don't want to hear any more of this. I need it to go away. I need it to disappear, because those sounds that were once designed to help you want to just give whatever it is you have, those same sounds now turn you off and you're ready to depart Vegas. And I'm sure you're telling yourself that I'm never going back. And that is how good Las Vegas is at when you're there, wanting to spend your cash, wanting to believe, wanting to buy into whatever it is they are offering, because it immerses you in a world where you want to spend, not because you have to, not because you have to. No one needs to spend in Las Vegas, but it feels so good to spend in Las Vegas. And just remember, the environment that you create influences the decisions the customers make. And we're going to be able to tie this whole Vegas idea can be tied into so many different businesses, so many different industries. The two that jump out right away are the restaurants and the med spas. These are two businesses that are both bustling for the most part. Restaurants a little bit, depending on where you are, have taken a little bit of a hit, but med spas are all the rage. These wellness centers. It's just, you walk into these places and you feel special. You feel like you're a part of something exclusive. You do. And the truth of the matter is, if you don't, you are not going to likely purchase whatever overpriced crap that they're offering you. And I say crap, I don't mean crap. Those centers are doing a lot of good things. But it's the fact that you feel awesome when you're there, that it looks good, it smells good. Remember, think Las Vegas. That you want to say, okay, I want to participate. I am buying into whatever it is you're offering, because this right here, this all makes sense to me. And it feels good to want to be a part of it. And it feels good to want to buy it. And it's all about the experience that the customer has when they're there. And the more, and again, we're going to get into some things now, because it's not just about setting up an environment that is very conducive to someone wanting to purchase or wanting to give you their hard-earned cash. You also want to establish this idea that we talked about watching a show backstage. One of the reasons why you feel so good and exclusive is because it's this proximity to the action, this proximity to what's actually going on. You're immersed in it. And so a lot of these businesses that are thriving right now have figured out ways to also be immersive for the customer. The customer feels like they're truly inside of something. And The medical spas of doing this, they're able to show some of these procedures. They've removed a lot of the doors from the rooms. I don't know if any of you have been in any of these anytime lately, but there's no doors. At least the ones that I've been in, no doors. People are seeing all the procedures happen. People are getting a drip, they're getting injections, they're getting Botox, stuff like that. It's all right there for everyone to see. I mean, not just passerbys, but if you're in there and you're walking around, it's all open. And so it creates this very, this experience, this of safeness, of transparency. And the truth of the matter is transparency builds trust. Transparency equals trust. The more transparent that you can be by showing what used to happen behind closed doors, the more people are going to trust in you. They're going to trust in your product. The more they're going to be willing to spend, the more they're going to consider that an elevated experience because they're in it. They're in it. They're a part of it. Proximity is power. It is. Let's talk about the restaurants. Let's talk about the nice restaurants that are out there. Now, I don't know. I don't want to misspeak because I don't know if this is still a thing with restaurants, but there was a time, and it probably is still a thing, but there was a time when the expensive restaurants needed to do something different because whether it's competition or it's the fact that not as many people were going out the way they used to, but there needed to be something additional they were doing to create an experience. Because yes, if you have ambiance, if you have just a lot of people watching, good energy at the restaurant, people will automatically think that it's a better experience because it's got great energy. But there still needed to be more. That wasn't actually going to be enough. And so this idea of removing barriers, removing walls, and making the processes at the restaurant as transparent as possible so that people can actually peek behind the curtain. They can actually get a look into everything that was going on inside of the kitchen. So you have this idea of these open air kitchens, or whether it's just a glassed off kitchen. But anyway, you can see what's going on inside of there. And so these restaurants open up and they do these modifications. They bring in a renowned chef. And when you have in the age where chefs are like rock stars, you want to show those rock stars off. You want people to know that they are in the presence of greatness. And if you have someone that's considered great that you want to show off, you sure as heck aren't going to put them behind a wall. You are going to showcase them. You are going to present them. So now what happens? Well, you think about a traditional restaurant and you've got your two tops, your four tops, right? It's always a square table, or you got some of the bigger tables or round tables, but you have to place them on the floor in ways that you can seat around it. And sometimes they'll put some four tops against the wall, and then that's where two people will sit. A lot of different ways you can arrange it. But when people come in by themselves, what you didn't want, especially a busy restaurant's trying to make money, they just invested in modifications and they invested in an expensive chef. They want to be able to use everything in there as best as they possibly can. So when singles come in, and you all have had, I would imagine most of you have had dinner by yourself, and you sit at the bar. Well, that works. You can serve food at the bar, but it takes away from the experience of others. It's not as clean. It's not as cool if someone's having French fries and ketchup at a bar when you're trying to sell someone a $30 martini. You want that area clean. You want it popping. You want it cool. You want it vibrant. You don't need someone sitting there for an hour and a half, eating a hamburger. That isn't conducive to transactional sales at the bar while people are waiting for their own tables. So they had to figure out a way. And what better way to do it is if you have this fishbowl kitchen or you have an open air kitchen, let's just set up another bar-like experience for people. It's not going to be a bartender. It's not going to be drinks there, but we're going to have these communal tables. And so people coming in by themselves, we're going to sit them at these communal tables facing the kitchen, and the kitchen now becomes like a show. It becomes entertainment. So what happens now? Because now you're entertaining people. You're charging a premium for the food. And you can get away with food that isn't really worth what you're paying for it. I'm sure the food's great. I'm sure the food is fantastic. But is it worth $100 for a steak? No. And if you just charge $100 for a steak with a person who's there and by themselves, no one to talk to, they got their phone in their hand, they're eating their steak with their other one, that's not going to be an elevated experience. So you are putting at risk that it must be how good the food is. The food needs to just be popping in order for someone to walk away from that experience and say, yeah, that was worth me spending $100 on a steak plus sides plus a drink, and it was okay. Yeah, the people watching was cool. But instead of that, you have this experience, you have this open air viewing, this entertainment. You have a rock star chef that you can look in and see, and now you are hitting every single time you are delivering on the entertainment value. There are no variables there. There isn't this ingredient may have soured a little bit, or this thing cooked a little bit too long, or this came off the stove a touch too soon, right? Because all that can happen. But the entertainment piece, the experience piece, that's going to be a 10 every single time, night after night. And that is setting you up for success. That is setting you up so that when someone leaves the restaurant, they're probably not even really focused and thinking about the food when they write a review or they tell other people that they had an awesome time, that they really liked the restaurant. Because when all those other things don't exist, the only thing there is to really comment on is my $100 steak, and it was okay. And when you give feedback like that to a friend, you just say, it was okay. Are they really going to be knocking down doors? They're going to run through walls to go make a reservation at that restaurant? Probably not. And so it's just, we continue to see this approach in all different businesses of trying to figure out how to have the entire experience be a 10. If you can accomplish that, if you can create that, you're setting yourself up for success. You're increasing the likelihood that people are going to be okay with not only spending an awful lot of money on the product or service that you're pitching and you're putting out there, but to have them come back again and again. Because if people don't have a good experience, you might get them once, but you're only getting them once. You knock it out of the park with the experience, they're coming back again and again. They're telling their friends, they're coming back with their friends, they're telling others. And now you have a thriving, successful business built on the Vegas experience, if you will. It's brilliant because, again, it's that transparency we talk about. That transparency builds trust and reduces friction. I'll say that one more time. Transparency is going to build trust and reduce friction, which is key in business, which is vital in sales. And it's just something to continue to think about. It's like the business that I'm in, the product and services that I'm representing. How do I figure out a way to increase this transparency? Because I want to reduce friction. How do I figure out a way that customers can see my behind the scenes, what's going on? Because this way they're going to feel safer. And ultimately just be more willing to invest in whatever it is you're offering. That is the key. Another example of this, and I am completely victim to this. I'm a jeans guy. I love jeans and I love selvage denim. And the way the selvage denim works is, now it used to be really exclusive. There only used to be a few mills that remained open, especially in the US. And then there was very few retailers that actually worked deals with these looms, with these factories, and they were able to, put out a product to the public. It has grown a little bit, but there is still this idea that you're buying from people that have this very bespoke approach, this very artisan approach to the business. And there's this one brand out there. As I was searching for brand, I needed to get some bootcut jeans because I just bought a new pair of cowboy boots, and I got to have a good pair of bootcut jeans for the cowboy boots. And there's this brand I came across that is based in Los Angeles, and it's called Brave Star Denim. If any of you don't know, go check them out. I'm not getting anything for this from Brave Star. I just like the brand an awful lot. And I like the brand even more after I had an opportunity to go to their factory store. Now, the way they set it up is they don't actually have a store. You have to make an appointment to go and check out what they have. So you can order offline and they'll ship it to you. But the thing about going there is if you need to have them hemmed, because all of their jeans are at a 36-inch leg. And so most people need to have that hemmed. So you can get it hemmed right there. And so I set up an appointment. And the truth of the matter is, while from the time that I set up the appointment to the time when my appointment was, I actually found a different pair of jeans that I really liked and I already bought and I was fine with. But in order to get the appointment with Bravestar, I also had to buy a pair of their jeans too. And I set up an appointment for a fitting. And so I was just going to go check it out. And I was going to just, pretend like, oh, I didn't like the fit. And I was going to move on because I already had a great pair of jeans. So I go to this store. It's right in Culver City. You just walk in. It's almost like going to a speakeasy. It's a real little writing on the door. It's super cool. And you walk in and there's like two dudes in there. And one dude is kind of on the floor working the sewing machine, if you will, and he's very knowledgeable. And there's another guy in the back. And you just start talking to him. And you're looking around and the way the place is set up, you can just tell it's a damn cool brand. And these guys know their stuff and they start talking about different shops in the area where they get this and that, and they get their rivets from this place, and then they get their buttons from this place. And this is why they chose to use this type of denim. This is why they chose these looms, these left-handed looms versus a right-hand loom. And they're just, you can tell that they love what they're doing. And when you're there, you're brought into the entire experience. There are no walls. You're in it. You're right there where they're sewing the damn jeans. You're right there where they're putting the rivets on. You're right there where they're putting the buttons on. And they know everything about it. It is as transparent as it gets. And the more you talk to them, and the more different things you try on, and the more immersed you come in the overall experience now of the shopping, of the jeans, you're done. And so the truth of the matter is, again, I'm a sucker, and it's okay. I'm not afraid to admit it. I went in there just to go in there and say, thank you very much. Can you just go ahead and refund the jeans because they don't fit as good as I wanted them to, and be done with it. Not only did I walk out with the pair of jeans that I bought, hemmed, perfectly fit, fantastic, but I also bought a jacket. Yes, I bought a jacket too because I couldn't help but feel like I was a part of this place. I couldn't help be immersed in the overall experience. And once I was immersed in the experience, I was fine with buying into whatever there was. They didn't even need to offer anything. That's the beauty. That's the beauty of sales, that when you get people to truly buy into the experience, they're no longer buying from you. They're happy to do it. They just want to give you their cash, and they just want to be able to have this memory forever and say, I was a part of that experience. So when I think of wearing these jeans now, it's not just about wearing a pair of jeans. You can go get a pair of jeans from Macy's, from Nordstrom's, from any shop in the mall. Who cares? When I wear these jeans with my cowboy boots, I have that entire experience with me. And so the cost of those jeans don't mean anything. I would have rather paid. I feel so much more comfortable about the elevated price I paid for those jeans than I would have paid for any other jeans in the mall. Not even close. I don't trip at all because I loved the experience. So the unifying message here, I think we've beaten this theme up quite a bit, and I'm pretty close to being out of coffee. We got ripped. We definitely got ripped. And so I'm going to go ahead and start to wrap this up. But the core theme around all of this, whether it's a concert, an exclusive restaurant, a denim manufacturer, football game, concert, basketball game, a med spa, the takeaway here is that people become loyal when you give them an experience. Figure out ways to convey the experience, to convey the feelings. That's how you're going to win. People spend more when they feel something. That is proven. There is no argument against that. People spend more when they feel something. People trust more when they get closer. And then people will believe in you more when you show them what you're made of. How do you make it so that your intentions are as transparent as possible? How do you take yourself and think through the idea of Las Vegas, the open air restaurants, sitting side stage or standing side stage at an Eric Church concert? How can you take that and replicate that in whatever business it is you are doing, whether you're a business owner or whether you're representing a business and need to get people to buy from you? Figure out ways to create exclusivity. Figure out ways to create scarcity. Figure out ways to elevate the entire experience that someone is about to go through when they do business with you. You accomplish that, and you will never have to look back. You will never have to worry about failure. And you accomplish something like that, you're going to be able to talk to me about all of the concerts you're watching from the side stage. With that, we're going to close this out the way we close out every episode, and that is, this life is what you make of it. The future you is waiting patiently to meet the current you. Continue to work to find your tomorrow in today and fight like hell to keep the promises you make to yourself. Until we meet again, eyes wide, see everything. Goodbye.